why the sling is still wrapped around the horse to prevent that from happening. So they'll kind of be lifted up. Why were horses so important? What did they use them for?
Transportation.
Transportation. That was the main thing why they brought horses over. They brought other animals along too. Bulls, chicken, and pigs, and other plants. Because we didn't have that. Let's go that way. Now, pirates were real back in the day. There's not like they have in the movie Pirates of the Caribbean in the glass. Now, it's just people who stole from other people and got away with it because there was no law enforcement out there in the sea. So what the Spaniards did in order to prevent the pirates from stealing from them is that they started building their own treasure chest. And that's exactly what a real one looks like. Now, where it looks like it has a flower, when you close that chest, that's where the keyhole would be. You actually needed this key to open the chest. The thing is that it was a little bit more complicated than that. Where it looks like it has an L, there's actually 7 little locks in there. So you have 8 locks in total. The big main one and then the 7 little ones inside. You needed that one key. You needed to constantly turn it multiple times so you can finally open the chest. If you didn't have that key, well, guess what? You got no treasure anymore. Now, those 2 swords are supposed to represent 2 countries trying to come and invade. Ultimately, we know that Spain is the one who ended up winning, which is the first sword. The second one is Germany. We go over there to the next glass display. Over there.
This one looks more professional.
Stop. Right, for your armor. The chainmail weighs from 100 to 150 pounds. The helmet weighs from 5 to 10 pounds. How would you boys feel if you had it on right now?
Amazing. Powerful.
Really nice. That's a good
I'm pretty sure you guys would kind of be feeling the heaviness of it.
Move your head, swear to God. Get your bowl out of here.
Oh yeah? Wow. Now, the pro and cons of this chainmail is that pro is very flexible compared to leather. Pro is that if you were to get shot by an arrow, it would not pierce through. Cons is that when it comes to close combat, it's horrible. It actually ends up breaking the chain, so you actually will get injured by it. So those are the pros and cons to it.
Wow.
In 1554, all of this, in 1554 we had 3 Spanish shipwrecks. All of this was found on the South Padre Island. We have the cannonballs, and ship fragments, and the Spanish coins. I used her about last year to some adults, and they told me that she found a Spanish coin at the beach. That's going to be worth from $10 to $100,000. So if you ever go to the beach,
I love it.
You guys might get lucky.
$10.
This over here, for real? This over here is called a collar for the war dogs. They'll put that on the dogs so you can go against people / horses in battle so they can have an advantage. Mind you, not only are the Spaniards going against the natives who first had this land, but they're also going against the foreigners like Germany. This sunglass, they'll change it every 30 minutes so you can know how fast you're going on the ship. And what are spurs used for? Do y'all know?
Yes, to kick the horses.
Kick the horse to go fast or slow, yes. Now, I'm going to pass you off to your next tour guide. He's going to tell you what the Spaniards did when we started colonizing. The rest.
Ancha. Abuela, ¿dónde está?
Mamá, ¿dónde estás?
Panchito. Abuelita.
That's because the land as ranches. These ranches they live in these jacales that we see right here. Okay, this jacal is made out of mesquite, mud, and straw. As you notice, this jacal isn't very doesn't offer a lot of protection. So all you could possibly do in there was sleep. Everything else you had to do outside. For example, cooking. If you started a fire in there, what do you think would happen?
Everything would burn down.
Yes, it would burn down.
Was there a restroom in there?
No, you have to do the restroom.
Wait a friend.
You want to smoke things in there.
Do you want to spin it outside?
I mean, it's better outside than where you sleep. Come on.
¿Qué pasa el
drenaje? So, if there was Indian raids, there was a lot of Indian raids. These Indians could easily just start a fire into the house, and it would just, you just burn inside or something. So you would seek protection in the boss's house, which is known as the Casa Mayor. So this is the thing that was in here. So let's go in here. Is that a phone? I don't remember. Alright, but let's come over here.
Crossbow?
Okay, so this is known as the Casa Mayor, and this is the boss's house. And if you see up there, that's a catwalk, and that was used so people could go up there and then shoot down invaders that were trying to come inside. There is also these gun holes that we see on the side. These are, you would just, you would shoot, use your put your shotgun through there and just shoot more people. Okay, so there was another saddle, but it's not here right now. It was on a donkey, and so that's known as the pack saddle. You would not ride on it, but you would put everything you needed to go to work or wherever else you needed to go. Over here, this is known as the ceremonial saddle. Now, this was used by the boss himself. It doesn't look fancy, right? But it had velvet and was lined with gold. And the boss would use it on high holy days or on ceremonial days as well. And he would just, use it to show off. It was fancy. And you would just put your back in your place, right? So let's go to the war saddle over there. If you notice, our war saddle has a lot of weapons, and that was used if he felt like he was in danger, he would put that on, and he would protect his people. He would use that lance. That lance was used to run down Indians, and if that lance didn't come down or didn't come out, he would have to drop it, right? He didn't want to be carrying around a dead body. Okay, he would also use that pistol on the side. That pistol was only used once just because it is very hard to reload. And then the last thing that we see there is the broadsword. This broadsword looks more like a machete. It doesn't look like the fancy swords that we saw in the other room. This was his killing sword, okay? But he would also use the stirrups on the side. If you notice, they're very heavy. So all he would do, he would just stick out his leg and he would just injure some more people, okay? So let's go to the house, or the inside of the house there.
Yeah.
If you notice, it's 2 stories that
Hasta la marihuana.
there. If you used to go to the second floor.
Panchis.
It's a lot fancier, but like the people from the Macales, they would not be able to put it inside. They would have to put it
Pancho.
right here.
Pancho, ¿estás aquí o qué?
Pancho Villa.
Pancho,
Right here.
¿dónde está la marihuana?
Cocaína.
That's huge. That was mostly just so the sparks wouldn't go out. And Rio Grande Valley, the land is very dry, so it could easily start a fire. Not only to the land around it, but to your house. Okay. So over here, I mentioned this before, but these people would trade with Sadio. Okay, they would trade for corn and squash. They weren't farmers; they were ranchers, so they needed these the necessary commodities to live by. Okay, so they would use this. Okay, that's the dangerous part.
Yep.
And they would go in caravans. Okay, you guys know what that is. This is more like the 18-wheeler of back then. Okay, very obvious. Okay, so they would go in groups. Okay, and that was because there was a lot of injury rates, and they were wanting to be attacked by them. Okay, go by just one person. I mean, you're gonna easily get attacked. Okay. They would also use salt to trade, okay? Salt was I would not recommend you to touch it, probably has boogers or something. Yep. But salt was a common trade back then just because it was very valued. And that's because, and that's because, she mentioned before, salt was used to preserve the meat, okay? We didn't have fridges back then or anything like that, okay?
Is that the real cart that they use in Fortnite chef?
No, it's like
A replica.
yeah. Okay, so let's go to over here.
Replica.
Taste it, taste it.
I taste it.
Voy a llevar un para la casa. Tastes like
Engacho.
Huele a mole.
Okay, so September 16, 1810. All right, September 16, 1810. He gave his famous speech, which is the Grito de Dolores.
Yep.
And yes, so you guys know about it.
Yes,
We haven't taken the picture class.
No, really, Arabia?
I know, right?
Okay, so what he did, he convinced a lot of poor farmers and civilians to revolt against the Europeans that were here, the Spaniards, okay? And that was because they didn't offer a lot of protection or they were taxing them heavily, right? And so he didn't live through the independence because he was executed by gunfire, but victory came to them in 1821, okay?
What year did he die?
Oh my god. Who the hell? What year did he die? Who the hell?
In the year that he died.
Yo lo conozco, lo de
This was about
I know him, bro. I know him.
they use
Yeah, but
like,
you just put it in the...
yeah, I
They'll
think
use
they
the
stick like a
channel?
little
Yeah, they do.
No,
stick something in there.
And why you asking? You already know.
Yeah, because if I want to see if I was
Alpha. Okay.
Thank you, Miss Elizabeth.
Thank you, Miss Elizabeth.
Okay.
Oh, don't touch it.
I mean, yeah, you can.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
That's where Ernesto de la Cruz died.
That's good instinct. That's good instinct. But no, you can touch this because nobody cares about it anyway.
Savage.
No.
Yeah, sure. Put it in your pocket.
Guys, help me, guys.
Okay. This bell, everybody asks about it. It doesn't mean a thing. Okay. It has nothing to do with anything in this museum. It was found in a recycling yard. Somebody said, "Hey, this is kind of cool. It's old. We'll take it to the museum. They'll take it."
Oh yeah.
The museum can't take anything unless they have provenance. Do you understand what provenance is?
No, like.
Who the hell?
Like or
Yeah,
like a story.
there you go. Proof and history. Okay? And they didn't have any.
They made something up.
So the museum said, "See you later. We can't take your bell." Because once they take something, they have to protect it forever. Okay? They can't
To live with
decide
that.
like 2 years from now. Guy, quiet. Okay? So 2 years from now, they can't decide to throw it away. They got to keep it. So they noticed that the date that it was manufactured was March 6th, 1836, which was the day the Alamo fell. So they felt like they couldn't just let the bell get melted down. So they took the bell even though it's worthless. And so I have to talk about it every time you guys come here. Okay? But I don't like it because it's worthless. Okay? So anyway, we're going to talk about the Texas Revolution. Did you guys take Texas history in the
Yes,
fourth grade?
sir.
Yes, sir.
Well, I don't know what system you're in, but most systems do it at fourth grade.
Who the hell?
Okay?
Well, it's because we're from ideas, sir.
What
You're
the
from
Who
Idea,
the hell?
Different.
and you're from Brownsville?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you guys are odd. Okay.
Yes,
We're special bunch.
Hey,
strange.
Brownsville is cool. Nothing wrong with Brownsville. It's where the last battle of the Civil War was fought.
Yeah.
You guys know that?
Yep.
What's the name of the battlefield?
Fort Brown. No, wait.
Oh my God.
Fort Brown. Take a nap, dude.
I love to take a nap.
It's Palmetto Ranch.
I knew it.
Okay? I knew it doesn't count, man. If you don't say it, you didn't know it.
Okay, you didn't.
Okay? Be quiet. Okay, we're going to go through this, and I don't have time to wrangle your talking. Be quiet and listen. You have a question that makes sense, ask it.
Yes, sir.
Okay? We're going to move through quickly. The Texas Revolution. Mexico has a problem now because they own Texas and nobody wants to come here from Mexico. Because it's a hard place to make a living, and the Indians will kill you and take your stuff.
Oh.
Okay? So they can't get anybody to come. So some genius in Mexico City decides, hey, we'll invite a whole bunch of rednecks from Tennessee and Kentucky to move here. Okay? And they do. If they get free land if they become Mexican citizens and become Catholics. Okay? And so 35,000 of them, that's enough, dude. 35,000 of them move here very quickly. And the Mexican government said, whoa, wait a minute, that's enough rednecks in Texas. I've said that myself many times. But anyway, the president of Mexico said that himself, okay? And he cut immigration off, okay? And they kept coming as illegal aliens. I think that's kind of funny. But anyway, okay? The Indians, this is an opportunity. All these new people with new stuff, let's go kill them and take their stuff, right? And so they were doing that. Would not help the Texans at all. Guys, you, be quiet.
Yes, sir.
And you too.
Oh my.
You want to sit downstairs in the lobby while this is going on?
No, sir.
Then knock it off.
Okay.
Okay. The Mexican government is not helping people. People are fed up with the Mexican government, and they form an army, not to fight the Indians, but to revolt against Mexico and form their own country. Okay? So this 2,000-man gang, okay, they got their own clothes, their own guns, right? They don't have uniforms. They're going to revolt against Mexico. Mexico's not going to put up with it. They send 6,000 men to put the revolution down. And it's not looking good for our home team here in the first couple of rounds, right? In the first battle, how many of us survived?
0.
Right, at the Alamo.
Oh, yeah, then.
The second battle was at Goliad.
7.
It wasn't very good either, was it?
I got it right.
No, it wasn't 7, but it was pretty bad. Okay? But at the last battle at San Jacinto,
24.
be quiet. Silence is good for you. Okay? Okay? At the last battle, it only lasted 18 minutes. The Mexican army walked away from their general.
Yeah.
Why would they do that?
It was too.
There was too many, wasn't it? Too many
There were too
Texans?
many men.
No, there were only 2,000 Texans. There were 6,000 of them. They
Who
had
the hell?
better guns
They
and better
split. He
training.
split them up though.
And they were split.
No.
What? What do you? I guess not.
No, they were working for an idiot. The
Oh.
Mexican army was working for an idiot. His name was Santa Anna. He told him he was going to be emperor of North America. Okay? He told him, he kept with him on his person part of his leg that had been blown off in a little box lined with velvet all the time. So if you were going to work for a guy like that and he was going to tell you to run over and take bullets from those Tejanos over there, would you listen to him?
Nope.
Not really.
No. And so they just abandoned him on the field and left, and the Texans caught him, captured him, and he signed a letter of accession, and Texas became its own country. And what was the name of its own country?
Texas.
No.
Somebody said
United
it.
States.
Republic of Texas. Very good.
Good job.
Okay? Republic of Texas. Okay, so for 10 years we were our own country. Right?
Yes, sir.
And we were a broke country. We didn't have very much money. We didn't have an army. The Mexicans were acting like they were going to come and take us back. Okay? We tried to join the United States. They didn't want us for a long time because we had slavery in East Texas. Okay? So eventually the United States did let us in, and as soon as they allowed us to become part of the United States, Mexico got angry. And when countries get angry, what happens? War. Let's go talk about the war in front of that tent over there.
Sir. Sir, watch out, sir. He's gonna get triggered. Pancho, ¿no estás?
Guys, hey, the name of this war is the Mexican. What?
What?
Anyway, okay, this war is called the Mexican-American War. The problem is this: the Mexicans say the southern United States border is the Nueces River, which runs from San Antonio to Corpus Christi, right?
Yes, sir.
We say it's the Rio Grande. Obviously, since you guys live on the Rio Grande, we won the argument, right?
Yes.
But it was another case like with Santa Anna. We had a war against the Mexicans. They outnumbered us. They had better equipment. We had a smaller, less well-equipped army, and we beat them because they had poor leadership. Okay? We landed Marines at Veracruz, went to Mexico City, and took their capital. We started an army at Brownsville, Fort Brown, as somebody mentioned earlier. Okay? And, but not. This isn't the Civil War, dude. Don't think you're right. Okay? No, you weren't. Fort Ringo at Rio Grande City and went north and took Mexico. Okay? So how come Mexico isn't a state?
Because it doesn't.
I like that.
Join? They didn't want to join us. And we didn't have a big enough army to keep us. But we did con them into giving us some land before we left. Right?
Yes.
New Mexico, Colorado, Utah, and Arizona, which basically finished off the map of the southern United States. So at least it paid off for us. But Mexico, by this time, and lost half of its country. California, Texas, and that section we just talked about. Okay? So anyway, there was riverboat traffic. If you turn around and look behind you,
Turn around.
there's a mock-up of a riverboat. And there was riverboat traffic for about 20 years from Brownsville to Roma. Lots of stuff went up and down. The river filled up with its own mud and cut it off. We're going to skip over this part, kinda, because we need to cover other things, okay? But if you want to see all this display in the movie that's inside, come back on Saturday morning at 10 o'clock, between 10 and noon. Your whole family can get in free to look at the museum for the day. So it might even be worth the drive from Brownsville, because this is pretty cool stuff. Okay? So let's go talk about the Civil War. If you'll go sit on the
Oh yeah. Hey. Puto. Puto.
Hola.
Mami.
¿Qué onda, pa? Mira el pollo. Pollo. Él se llama el pollo. I can fit.
Okay, as we said, you guys' hometown, Brownsville, is the scene of the last, or just north of you, is the scene of the last battle of the Civil War at Palmito Ranch. Okay, the rebel group and the Union group met there at Palmito Ranch and had a no-kidding, cannons blazing, bayonet charge fight, and the Confederates won. But it didn't matter because the war had been over for 2 weeks already. And so it was all for nothing. But during the Civil War, the South was devastated except for us down here. The South.
Thank you.
What is the problem with the Civil War? What's the major issue?
Oh, so slavery.
Slavery. Very good.
brother.
A lot of guys can't answer that. I don't know why, but thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay? Slavery. Okay?
You were right.
That's the problem. Who has slavery? South or the North?
The South.
The South, because they're
South.
racist.
Why do they have slavery?
Because
They farm cotton.
Oh yeah.
They need people to pick their cotton.
France and England. They need the labor, the slave labor, to farm the cotton.
They need cotton pickers.
Do we have cotton here? Do we have slavery here?
No,
Not anymore.
sir.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
We didn't have cotton.
That's
here.
illegal.
Is it hot and Jenny's over there? It's hot.
What?
Or like.
There's cotton fields
I
everywhere.
can't hear you. What did you say?
Speak louder. He can't hear
Said
you.
he's seen cotton fields here in the valley.
We
Well,
have.
this isn't 1863, is it? Were you here in 1863?
But my great
Are
abuelo
we
was.
talking about 1863?
Sir,
Yes,
did they make
we
this in
are.
1963?
No.
No, but it's made of cotton, isn't it?
Goodness gracious, guys, take a break.
Brr.
Okay? We didn't farm here. We had no surface water. We can't farm here.
Then what is this made of?
We don't need slavery here.
And what in the backyard?
20 guys, be quiet. 20 guys can run a 15,000-acre ranch with 3,000 cattle on it. We don't need slavery.
It's a fucking bunch of
We don't
bullshit.
have slavery here. Not because we're nice guys.
Yeah.
We have no slavery here because we don't need it.
No, because it's illegal.
We don't have tractors. Pay attention. This is 1860. Okay?
We had slaves.
You guys have no clue about timeline at all, do you?
We had slaves back then,
You
right?
guys are lost in space. No.
I thought you were talking about now.
This is 1863. Remember the date. But anyway, the rest of the South was devastated by the Civil War. Atlanta was burned to the ground. South Carolina was destroyed, where my dad came from. His state, people died of starvation. 100,000 of them were killed.
63?
Okay. What is the comedy here, guys?
Mama.
No, it's coughing.
Well, I don't think it's funny when people cough. They're sick.
Yeah, I'm coming too. Back then they coupled.
If you guys can't act better, why don't we just conclude the tour?
No, I'm good. Keep going, sir. I really
No,
like what
you're
saying.
good doesn't cut it. I want you quiet.
Okay, I'll be quick.
I want you respectful.
You're
And I want it now, or you're going downstairs.
Downstairs. Who the hell?
Okay? Now we're going to talk about how we made money during the Civil War. Oh, we don't have time now because I wasted so much time trying to get you to shut your mouths.
Yep.
So now let's go in the next room and let's talk about cowboys for about 5 minutes.
Oh yeah.
Get out of the way. So you're gonna push me into this? Come on. Your mom gay.
Has anybody in this group got enough sense to ride a horse?
Yes.
How many times?
40.
I did it just
Quiet! I don't care. Be
You
quiet.
ask.
Did you hear me? Mouth, be quiet. How many times have you ridden a horse? Twice. Hold your fingers up. Twice doesn't cut it. Somebody that's ridden a dozen times. You got one of those? Good. Use your toes.
Bro, what the hell?
Have you ridden a dozen
My God,
times
his
or
head
not?
old.
Who has? You have? Yeah. What kind of horse you got?
A pinto, a yegua, and
Okay, good. You want to get on this saddle then for us?
Get on this.
But I'm gonna break the wood.
No, you're not.
What the?
Most of the time, guys lie and say they've been on a horse, and they get on the right side, and you know right away they're liars. This man got in on the left.
No, it's because there's a bunch of people right there.
Why don't you go stand over there
I'll just stand right here, sir.
and be quiet?
Bro.
The rest of you be quiet. And maybe you could answer a question. I don't think you have enough brains, but just in case. Where did cowboy culture originate? What country? Go ahead. Yes?
Mexico.
Very good.
You said I didn't have the
GG, brother.
I didn't know if you did.
Well, I did.
You did, and I'm proud of that. The rest of these guys, I'm not sure. Okay? Mexico is where cowboy culture came from. The boots, the saddles, the turns, all of it. And it spread with the cattle industry all through the western United States, all the way to Canada. Okay? So all the way to Calgary, Alberta, there is Mexican culture and Mexican terminology and Mexican methodology in the cattle. So you ought to remember that. Okay? When you see a cowboy. Okay? And now, our tour is over. You guys.
Look, he wants to. Look at him. You see him with the. Go to the restroom, sir. Let me go to the restroom. Alright, end of that. Let's do this, boys.